Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Sorry for the tardiness. I was supposed to come on tonight at 8 p.m., but the devil tried it. None of my stuff was charged up. I couldn't get my laptop together. It just, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's like that. So come on in. This is part two of How to Heal from a Relationship series. Part two, we're going to talk about slave mentality. You guys come on in, share it to you guys' pages. Let me get my other group up. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Let me get my other group up. Okay, I got them up. Let's roll. Let's rock and roll. I got them up. I don't know. I might need to put them over here somewhere. Hold on. I got a lot going on today, but I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be here so we can get into it tonight. Let me put them over here on this side. So go ahead and share it to y'all's pages, share it to y'all's friends, because everybody needs some healing in some era of a relationship, some type of ship. Everybody's in some type of ship that they done had some troubles in and was not able to get over, and they still stuck. So go ahead and share it to some of y'all families and friends before we get started. I want to make sure everybody that I have on my other platforms is up as well. For those who don't know me, I am LaSheila Holmes. I am a health and wealth mentor. What I do is help clients. I help them to find clarity in their lives, build self-awareness, and learn how to pursue their dreams and their goals, find out what their purpose is. So I do a lot of inner healing from the inside, inside out, build up their self-esteem, their confidence. We build that up. And then I help you get some money with your dreams and goals, whatever you want to pursue. I started, my first business was a tax business. I started back in 2010. I built that from the ground up. And I had many clients that I would coach and I would mentor on a personal level. So I still got my company. I just branched out to another company because I just, I like to get that money. So, doing income taxes was a joy to me. And I still got my company as well. And that's still up and running. But this is my passion and this is my calling, is to help people heal from the inside out, help people to go in and find out what area of healing that they need, because everybody is broken. We just need to find out where we're broken at. Last Tuesday, I'm doing this a whole month of October. I'm doing a series called How to Heal from a Relationship. Hey, Kenneth, How to Heal from a Relationship. Part 1, we talked about broken people. First, when you go to a hospital, you got to figure out, when you go in, the doctor needs to in order to treat you, he needs to figure out what's wrong with you. So we talked about broken people. If you did not watch that on last Thursday, it's on my Facebook, LaSheila Holmes, on my Instagram, LaSheila Holmes, or on my YouTube. First, we need to figure out what, who is broken, why you broken, because broken people break people. And sometimes you don't even know that you're broken. And it's just something, your normal may not be somebody else's normal. Your dysfunction may not be somebody else's dysfunction. So what we're doing is, we're healing in relationships. We're healing. I have a series. We're healing from, if you have parent issues, if you have issues with your children that needs to be healed, with your exes or divorced or husband or wife, we have we're going through that part as well. We're going through self, healing from yourself, because everybody's dealing with some type of battle that you don't know, we don't know what nobody's dealing with. We don't know if it's childhood drama. We don't know if it's childhood trauma. We don't know if it's happened with, in your high school years or college years, but something threw you off to loving yourself in order to love somebody else, because we attract of who we are in the inside. So if you broken, that's why you keep getting that same dude same dude with just different clothes. That's why you keep getting that same girl in a different outfit, because you're the problem. They're not the problem. You're the problem. So whenever you learn to fix you, and then you can attract what you want. But subconsciously, we track who we are in the inside. Our energies attract these people that we don't even want, but we have some broken pieces in the inside that needs to be healed. Everybody is so busy running after material things, and they're not getting healed. So they have a whole bunch of asset and material thing, and still lonely. Still can be addicted to drugs and alcohol and partying and all these other things to try to numb what wasn't fixed in the beginning. So that's why I'm here to help you fix it while you get your bag, while you get your stacks, while you get your money. So you won't be just healed. You will be completely healed, and you can have peace. It's one thing that you want whenever you really get healed. When you really get healed, you're going to have a peace about yourself. You're going to have a peace about what you want. You're going to know who you are in life. You're gonna know what you want in life. You're gonna know exactly what you do not want. And you're gonna keep encouraging yourself. You're gonna give yourself self-care and self-love every day when you really love yourself. And sometimes we don't even know that we're really broken until it surfaces, until somebody until somebody open that old womb up and somebody do something to you, and it reflects back to what somebody did to you in an old relationship. So that just means that you was not completely healed. So let's get into it. I wrote a book in 2019, and it's called From a Poverty Mindset to a Wealthy Mindset. And I have a couple of chapters on there on healing, on getting over relationships. I've been a single parent for 25 years. I have 4 children. I have 2 dogs. I have a grandbaby. So I know what it is having a toxic childhood, dysfunctional childhood. Grew up with an alcoholic father. Grew up with a mother and father that was was rejected and abandoned and traumatized as a young kid. And then they came over. They was broken as adults, and they grew and they raised broken kids. And when you have children and you're broken, you raise broken kids. You raise broken children, and you try to figure out why do they do that, or what's wrong with them, because they carrying whatever your parent got inside of them. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, is slave mentality. Slave mentality. Some of these relationships we get in is because it's in our bloodline to put up with some of those types of toxic relationships, because that's our normal. Some people's normal is just normal. Like, I grew up with an abusive father. He drank alcohol. He was an alcoholic. So that was normal to me to see somebody with being an alcoholic. But see, I didn't put that around my children. So in order to heal those, I had to go heal from my parents. So I wouldn't raise broken children because my parents was broken. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is slave mentality, carrying on what our parents carried on, because we're born in some of this stuff. We're born into some of these generational curses and don't even know it. We taking on some of these broken pieces and don't even know it. You don't even know you're broken until you go meet somebody else. I'm gonna give you a quick example, and then I'm gonna get into it. My children always, oh, mama, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, because I was a single parent. I raised my kids. God always sent people in my life to help. I have one son, and help me with my son. I can't show him how to be a man, but God sent people to show him how to be a man, but I raised him as a young man. This is what you're supposed to do. So they were just like, oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And they just thought we were just so dysfunctional, but I kept them sheltered a lot. Until they started going over to their friend's house, until they started experiencing getting older and going to their friends, and their friends was tell them all the horror stories that their mothers would put men before them, or their mothers would leave them, or their fathers would do this to them. And then my daughter came back and say, it wasn't so bad here with you raising us. Now I see what you was talking about. So you never know what another household, we never know what people's real stories are. So, until you can tell your real story and it doesn't make you cry, until you can tell your real story and you don't get pissed off, frustrated, and hate and start hating that person that hurt you, you're not healed. Because if you can heal, you can wish that person that did something wrong to you and been, around you, you can really go back and tell that person. You can really go back and tell that person, wish that person well, and keep moving. You don't have to be friends with your victim, or you don't have, your abuser. You don't have to be friends, but you can pray for them and mean it from your heart. That's the beginning of forgiveness, and that's the beginning of healing. Because if you don't heal through the pain, you're gonna stay in that pain. That's why broken people keep on being broken, is because they're not healing. When you broke, you need to heal, and then you can move on. People trying to move on and not being healed, and that pain is still there. That's not how it works. You got to heal. It's like having a broken bone. You got to heal that bone. You got to heal that bone, then the pain will go away. When a doctor says 6 weeks, 2 weeks, you got to sit there and heal completely, then the pain will go away. We just think the pain gonna go away if we go away. That's not how it works. And so I'm gonna get into it tonight. It's called Slave Mentality. I'm coming out of my book. It's on all bookstores. This is part of the course. I get deep down into the course in a series with this right here, this book. I got a couple chapters, but one of the chapters that I put into this course, this course is Slave Mentality. So I'm gonna read some of that. I'm not gonna read it all. You can grab it. You can grab the full series on bit.ly/how to heal from a relationship. It's up in the bio, or you can go to my Instagram and click the link, and you will see the courses. But I'm just gonna read some of it so we can get started. Slave mentality. Slave means bondage, yoke, captive. A lot of people have a slave mind, being held in bondage or lack. Some people think people owe them something, which is having a slave mentality. No one owes you anything. I'm going to say that again. No one owes you anything. Your healing depends on you. Your healing depends on you. Your peace and joy and happiness depends on you. Nobody don't owe you anything. Being held captive to the ways of your parents and grandparents. This is a new generation. This is a new generation of doing things. We do things different than our parents. Saying and acting the way our parents and grandparents perform does not work for us. What your parents went through doesn't mean that you have to go through too. The older generation was raised during slavery, thought as a slave, or was a slave owner. Even though they were free from slavery, their minds were still in slavery. They still had a slave mentality. Your parents and grandparents could only teach from a slave mind because this is where they came from. They didn't know nothing other than being held in bondage. They could not teach you from a place. They could not teach you from any other place but from a slave mind or enslaving someone else. They performed the best they could with what they had and what they knew. So we can't blame our parents for not giving us and teaching us the things that they did not know. You know, sometimes parents just don't know. Some parents, they have their own issues. Bondage means held against your will. When you change your mind frame, you can get out of bondage. You can have whatever you set your mind to if you see it. No one is getting 40 acres and a mule. You have access to Section 8 and food stamps today. Just because your parents didn't go to school or didn't own a home, that doesn't mean that you don't have to. It all depends on your choices that you choose to make. Get around people that are at a higher level in life so you can watch them and see how successful people operate. The olden sayings, birds of a feather flock together. The people you surround yourself with will influence your habits. Having a slave mentality comes when you said mama did it and grandpa did it and uncle did it this way, and then you will want to do it that way. But if you look at their lives, it is not prosperous. Then you'll stop doing what grandma and grandpa and auntie and all those do. When we start looking at the relationships our parents had, or relationships that our family members had, then you can see, okay, was this healthy? Was this normal? Because nowadays we in a different generation, what was healthy to them is not healthy. It was very, very dysfunctional. Very, very dysfunctional for a man to have 3 or 4 families and can't provide for them. For a woman just to sit there, well, I'm going to stay with Johnny because Johnny doing this and Johnny doing that. That's an emotional abuse. That is mental abuse on somebody. Now grandma done raised her daughter to accept all of this abuse from a man. Oh, if he cheat, just take him out. All men cheat. All men do not cheat. All men do not cheat. All men do not cheat. I'm sorry. You know, the ones that's broken cheat. The ones that's not healed cheat. The ones that don't have respect and integrity cheat. This is some of this stuff can be taught. You know, when people grow up and they get into relationship, they date people how they seen their parents or their father. If their father wasn't there, the men that come through the whatever men or woman that you bring to your children, they'll pick that behavior up and think that's normal. So that's not normal. Some of these things that we inherited from our parents, we date like our parents, we pick up relationship because the first thing that we say, oh, I'm never going to be like my mother, or I'm never going to be like my father. And we can pick up those ways because we don't know nothing other. How can you say you're never going to be like your father? And then you start being like your father subconsciously because the energy in your mind say, I'm not going to be like him, but whatever you dwell on, you dwell in. I'm going to say that again. Whatever you dwell on in your mind, you dwell in. Whatever you think about too long, it will expand. It will expand. So you're thinking about not being like them, but in your heart, that's all you know. That's all you know is dysfunction. That's all you know is carrying on like that, or having different men, or having different women, or having a whole bunch of children. It's the things that we wasn't taught. It's the things that we wasn't taught in relationship. Because if I know what I know now, I wouldn't have had none of my kids. I wouldn't have been connected to none of my baby daddies. I wouldn't even have none of the friends that I had. But it's the things that we wasn't taught in relationships, friendships. It's because the things that we grew up doing, we thought that was normal, and it really wasn't. It's not normal to share men and women. It's not normal to have a whole bunch of kids and just going from man to man. That stuff wasn't normal. But if you wasn't taught, that's your normal. That's your normal. Like disciplined kids back when we were when we was growing up, it was okay to discipline. I'll go ahead and whoop your kids, this and that. But that was a slavery mentality because the slave owners beat the slaves. Then the slaves, when they got free, they was beating their children. Then their children start beating their children. Then their children start beating their children. It's just something that we picked up from our grandparents. The slaves, our grandparents were slaves. So some of those behaviors was normal. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to whoop your kid for being disobedient, but not to the point of beating them unconscious with stitching cords and irons and all that kind of stuff. The phrase spare the rod, spoil the child is a modern day proverb that meant if the parent refuses to discipline an unruly child, that child will grow up accustomed to getting his own way. He will become the common spoiled brat. This says in Proverbs 13:24. That scripture right there, but they didn't say beat it. So now that's why our kids come up with so much violence. That's why it's okay for abuse in relationships. They want to fight on their women. They want to fight on their girlfriends and wives. The women want to beat men because that's normal to them. That's normal to them. It's a slave mentality that some of us Black, our culture, we inherited. It's in our it's like a generational curse, basically. It's like a generational curse. We put up with things in relationships because we seen mama and big mama and granddaddy and all of them do it. It was okay to do this stuff. And you know, it was okay to stay in relationships when it was time to go. But we know better now. We are different generation. We know better. The problem is getting healed The problem is getting healed. Somebody can tell you about how to get healed all day long, but are you going to do the work? Are you going to go in, if they give you a plan, okay, this is how you get healed. See, our culture, they act like they don't worked in a cotton field for so long, they don't want to work for nothing else. But seed time harvest, what you sow, you should reap. Reciprocity, what you give is got to come back. The more you work that seed, you're going to get a harvest. So it's like therapy. None of us want to go. No, I went to therapy when I was younger. I mean, when in my 20s, after my grandmother passed away, there was a very traumatic time in my life, and I went to therapy to get healed. I had to get some healing to grieve, you know, because I never experienced that. But then I had parent issues. You know, I had a kid at a young age at 17. See, I had all of this pushed down, and I'm in my 20s going through relationships. You know, grandmother died, parents was dysfunctional, going through all of that. So every relationship I got in, I'm still grieving from my grandmother. I had parent issues. I used to get beat. I used to, you know, daddy was a alcoholic. He used to mistreat us all the time, abusive to my mother. So in my mind, I'm carrying that on. My mother and my father was rejected, abandoned, and molested and all of that. So now I'm born into that. I got they bricks on me. Plus, then when I started coming up, I had my own issues. So I got their issues plus my issues. Then I get somebody, I got all these issues I'm carrying. Want somebody to make me feel good. Want somebody to make me feel happy. Want somebody to fill a void. That's all it is. Want somebody to fill a void that only God can fill, and only he can fill, because he got to heal you from the within. You got to get inner healing. Everybody walking around here broken. I don't care who we are. I don't care all walks of life, white, black, Chinese. I don't care if you a living creature. You broken somewhere in your life. You might be financially stable, but emotionally you a wreck. You might be financially stable. Your emotions is good, and your body is tore down. High blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity, all of this kind of stuff. It's because people not really ready to do the work. When you ready to do the work, you going to make sure nothing's going to stand in your way from your healing. Because once you get self-development, once you ever get this mental right, this mental capacity, because your mind is the boss. Your body is the worker. Like I can say, tell my arm to raise up. That my mind is the boss. My body is the worker. We got to learn how to have self-control. It's not a people issue. It's not a money issue. It's not a parent issue. It's a self-control issue. It is a self-control issue. When you learn self-control, it's strength. When you learn self-control, when you learn right thought, when you learn calmness, peace can be still. But if you don't got all of that, if that you just not whole in the inside, it's work. You got to work it. You got to go take all them bricks from your childhood, from your teenage years, from your 20 years, from your 30 years, from your 40 years. You got to go dump all that out. If not, you just a broken person breaking people, and get with a broken person and be mad because he broken and can't help your brokenness because he broken somewhere and he didn't get healed either, or she didn't get healed either. You have to go get some type of healing. I mean, I just don't, in society to where we live in now, we have courses. I have courses. God has given me strategies on how to build healing courses, self-confident courses. Y'all don't want to go to therapy. Y'all don't want to pay $100 for therapy, and it's a whole affordable course. You got self-development on YouTube. You got coaches and mentors that's ready to help. That is not the problem. People do not want to invest in their healing. Some people love to be broken, and the others don't even know they're broken. They think money is fixing them, and they go to a big old house, bank accounts full of money, in an empty bed, or in a house with a relationship and still not happy. People don't make you happy. You got to make you happy. When you can say this, and I tell my kids this all the time, the way my piece is set up, baby, I don't care what you do. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to let nobody, blood is not thicker than my piece. I'm going to say that again. Y'all might need to write this down. When y'all come on people's lives, you might need to get a pen and paper and write stuff down. Blood is not thicker than your piece. When you learn to have self-control and say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to let this person abuse me. But first, you got to understand what makes you feel loved in the inside. How can somebody else really give you what you need if you don't even know what you really want? If you don't even know what you really want, you look around at how your parents was raised and what they did. You can't do what grandma and them did. You can't do what mama and them did. Some of them people on Social Security, disability, Section 8 and HUD. I'm speaking from my experience because my father is on it. Never got healed. And some people, frankly, some people is not going to get healed, y'all. Some people are just not going to make it. Some people, you might never get an apology. But I come here to help you get healed. If you want to get healed, you can't worry about nobody else's peace but yours. You can't worry about your children's peace. You can't worry about your mom and daddy's peace, your grandma, your great grandma and grandpa, your husband, your wife. You can't worry about nobody else's peace until you completely get peace. When you can completely get peace, everything around you will settle down. Things won't bother you with so much. You will forgive and keep going because everybody done went through trauma. And when you don't know how to forgive people in the inside, that keeps you broken. And when you don't have a forgiving heart, I don't care what they did, molested you, stole from you, cheated on you. I don't care what they did. The Bible said, if you don't forgive, God is not going to forgive you. You a filthy rag too. You know what you did? You know all that stuff you used to steal? All that time you used to cheat and nobody didn't know about it? The time you was talking about your friend behind her back or behind his back? So how you going to sit up? How we going to sit up and not really get our healing and forgive people? Healing is your job. Forgiving is your job. You can't let somebody else have the power. We talked about last night about broken people. Broken people. That's what we talked about. It's just like this glass. I was showing them this glass. When you allow somebody to break you, they have control over you. They have control and power over you to keep your mind stayed on them, to keep your mind, oh, I wonder what he doing. I wonder what she do. Oh, he ain't even called me. Oh, you get your whole body, your whole energy is not setting well because you didn't get a phone call, because you dependent on this person. You dependent on this person to make you feel happy. Nobody can't break you. Nobody can't break you. You break yourself. When you give somebody control over you, like this glass, I got control over this glass. I can drink it. I could pour it out. Or I could just simply drop it in the floor and break it because I have control over it. We give people control over our lives. They break us because we're broken. Broken people would never allow somebody else to harm them in no kind of way. But when you're broken, you don't know no better. You just looking for somebody to hang on to make you feel a little happiness. Because happiness is something has to happen for me to feel good. Peace is I'm going to be peaceful regardless of what situation going on, what's going on, none of that. Because peace be still. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Peace be still. Once you start having self-control within yourself, but it all starts in our mind. We have a slave mentality. We captive. We in bondage in our mind. They did me wrong. They abused me. They rejected me. They left me with all these children. My baby daddy don't want to pay child support. This woman won't let me see my kids. Oh, she just left me. Oh, she just left me. She just left me. The job fired me. I was dependent on that job. Over and over and over. Over and over and over. Over. And you become depressed because your mind is in bondage, in a slave bondage that you have to break out of. We was brought up from slave. The minorities was brought up from slave mentality. We have to break out of that. We have to break out of that. We was brought up and we was taught by broken parents. We're broken. We are a broken generation. We are a broken generation. God told me the other day, I was walking. I exercise every day and I walk about 3 miles. And the way America is set up, and Biden is just begging for them to pay our bills. And God said, see how the United States is so rich in material, but poor in character and integrity. The United States, we're rich in land and in oil and houses and cars and all of that. But America has no integrity and no character at all. They have no character and no integrity for the human person. Everybody wants to get over on somebody. America is a broken country. We all broken in some kind of way. Some people want to get healed and some don't. Some people just gonna complain. Some people don't want to even take a course. Some people don't even want to take self-development. But because complaining about what Johnny did or what they mama them did, man, you 40 and 30 years old. Leave them people broken. Yes. So don't get to be blaming people that's already broken. How you going to blame somebody for being mentally ill? How you going to blame somebody? Y'all know when y'all went to school, y'all had that one class where all the mentally challenged children are. So you know whenever they came out in the halls, you can't push them down or mistreat them because you know they mentally ill. So how can you sit there and hold these people in bondage, these slaves in bondage, your parents and grandparents, yeah, slaves, slave mentality children in bondage for what they did not know. For what they did not know. We got to do better. We got to do better. We got to do better in order to have a successful life. We have to do better. We have to do better. So I just wanted to come on here tonight with the part 2 of my series, just to let you know, we got to get out of that bondage. We have got to get out of that bondage. We have got to get out of that bondage. We can't do what our parents and grandparents did. They hurt us because they didn't know no better. They didn't know no better. Forgive them for they knew not what they did. They broken, raised their children as broken, and now we have a whole society of broken children. Our children are broken. If you never got therapy or you never got any type of self-development in your mind, in your mindset to shift your mind that this is not right, this is not working. I got to do something different from my children. Or you gonna continue to the same slave mentality with your children in bondage. Remember this, blood is thicker. Blood is not thicker than peace. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. Get your peace. Get your peace. Hold on. Because my phone is supposed to die. Yeah, the devil didn't want me to play this tonight because, baby, I was going to get into it. My phone is dying. But we have to check ourselves as people and really, really heal. I mean, really, really heal. Number one, you need to just write down why you broken. Let me give you some stuff to write down. Number one, why are you broken? Number two, who broke your heart or your mind? Who did it? You need to write these things down. If you don't learn to write stuff down, you cannot learn to heal something. You cannot learn, it won't come to pass. Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. Tell God what happened. Talk to him. Write it down. When you write it down, you can see it on paper. You can get rid of it. But we holding that stuff in. Our children is holding that stuff in. We got to get that stuff out of us. We got to get that stuff out of us. Hold on. I got the chart. My phone is not charged. Hold on. My dog done knocked over my charger. Hold on. Go sit down. Okay. Sorry. My dog knocked over my charger. Number one, why are you broken? Number two, who broke your heart or mind? Number three, when did you become broken? Number four, what made you feel broken? Number five, how did you become broken? I got it charged now. Thanks. What was the whole role in your mistake? Number one, why am I broken? You got to ask yourself, why am I broken? Why did I allow this person to treat me this way? Number two, who broke my heart or my mind? Who did it? I mean, don't start at my baby daddy. Now go way back into your childhood, because somewhere deep down in your childhood, because if you keep having relationship fails after fail relationship over and over and over, you got to go way back to your childhood. Okay, why is my mind set up to keep doing what I'm doing? You got to go back to your childhood. And then you have to go all the way up to see where it went wrong at. Who hurt you? Who made you feel like you was not anything? Nobody. Who talked down on you? So you got to ask yourself, why am I broken? Go all the way back to somebody hurt you and you never got over it. This is how you know, when you can just run it over in your mind over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when somebody bring that person up, you start your whole energy in the inside your stomach just to go. That person right there, you're not healed from. Write it down. Number one, why am I broken? Number two, who broke my heart or my mind? Number three, why did you become broken? Number four, what made you feel broken? What made you feel broken? What did they do to break you? How did they treat you? How did they touch you? What did they say to you? What was your role in the mistake? What did you do when they did that to you? When they mistreated you, when they abused you, when they talked crazy to you? What was your role? What was your rebuttal? Did you say anything? Did you do anything? Or you just allowed it? You accepted it? What made you get to the point that you wanted to change? Number seven, reflect on what needs to change. Write down what you want to change in your life and write your vision. Write your vision. What's your ideal you? What's your ideal you? That's what you need to write down, your ideal you. So you can achieve on how you want to feel, how you want somebody to treat you, how you want somebody to love you. And just dig deep down into it. Because we have to get healed. Because if not, we gonna have we gonna have broken children and broken grandchildren and broken great grandchildren. It has to stop somewhere. It has to stop somewhere.